Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the intriguing mystery surrounding Carly Spencer's unexpected drop-in at Elizabeth Baldwin's residence, sparking waves of speculation among fans. In the bustling world of Port Charles, where alliances shift like sand dunes, Carly's decision to knock on Elizabeth's door raised more than a few skeptical eyebrows this past week. These two women, both powerhouses in their own rights, have never been the type to share secrets over coffee. Their relationship is more like a fragile truce forged in the fires of past rivalries. Picture this: Elizabeth, the steadfast nurse with a heart as big as the hospital she calls home, has long carried the scars of romantic entanglements that Carly viewed as personal invasions. Back in the day, when Elizabeth captured a sliver of Jason Morgan's undivided loyalty during those turbulent times of danger and devotion, Carly seethed with jealousy. Seeing it as a direct challenge to her inner circle, the old flame of competition still flickers beneath the surface, making every interaction between them feel like a carefully choreographed dance on thin ice. Yet, in recent months, they've managed to collaborate when crises demand it, like reluctant partners in a high-stakes game. But why now? Why Elizabeth's cozy, Brookline townhome with its warm glow from the porch light? It wasn't just a casual catch-up. Something deeper simmered in Carly's purposeful stride up that walkway. Adding another layer to this puzzling visit is the fact that Willow Tate, Carly's own daughter-in-law entangled in a web of family loyalties, has been crashing at Elizabeth's place amid her own personal storms. Willow, with her resilient spirit and quiet determination, has found a temporary sanctuary there, turning Elizabeth into an unwitting guardian in the Corinthos family saga. This setup alone should have kept Carly at arm's length, as Elizabeth's loyalty naturally extends to her house guest, creating an invisible barrier of solidarity. Fans online are buzzing with theories, dissecting every frame of the scene where Carly lingered just a tad too long in the living room, her eyes darting to shadowed corners. Could this have been Carly's calculated move from the start? Perhaps she wasn't seeking sage advice from the head nurse, but using the visit as cover for a more clandestine agenda, one that ties into the escalating drama swirling around recent shootings and hidden agendas in town. Whispers in the fan forums suggest Carly might have slipped something incriminating into Elizabeth's home during that brief exchange, envision an ornate antique pistol, a relic straight out of the Quatermain vault, once belonging to the formidable Edward Quatermain himself. Edward, the patriarch whose iron-fisted legacy still echoes through the mansions and boardrooms of Port Charles, was known for collecting such artifacts as symbols of power and protection. This gun, with its engraved barrel and faded patina from decades of storage in the family attic, could be the smoking pun intended piece of evidence in the investigation into Drew Cain's shocking attack. As Police Commissioner Anna Devane gears up for a thorough sweep of the premises, her sharp instincts honed from years chasing international spies and local mobsters, the discovery of this hidden gem could unravel everything. Imagine Elizabeth, mid-shift at the hospital, getting a frantic call about a search warrant, her face paling as officers uncover the weapon tucked behind a stack of medical journals in her study. Would the realization hit her like a thunderbolt that Carly, with her sly smile and hurried goodbye, had planted it there to divert suspicion? The plot thickens when you factor in Willow's vulnerability and her budding trust in Elizabeth, who has become a confidant during Willow's battles with health scares and marital strains. If the gun surfaces, Willow might be the first to piece together the timeline, her mind racing back to Carly's overly affectionate hug at the door. But here's where the speculation veers toward Michael Corinthos, Willow's devoted husband, who swung by later that afternoon under the guise of a heart-to-heart. Michael, ever the protective son of Sonny and Carly, arrived with flowers in hand, his brow furrowed from the day's boardroom battles at ELQ. Their conversation, overheard in snippets by nosy neighbors, delved into worries about Drew's condition and the Corinthos family's precarious position amid rising threats. Could Elizabeth and Willow, in a moment of shared paranoia, point fingers at Michael instead? After all, he has access to the family's darkest secrets and a motive tied to protecting his mother from fallout. Fans are divided, with some theorizing that Michael's visit was timed perfectly to muddy the waters, making him the prime suspect if Anna's team dusts for Prince and finds traces linking back to the Quartermaine estate. Delving deeper into the origins of this supposed planted item, one can't help but wonder how Carly even laid hands on Edward's antique firearm in the first place. Perhaps she unearthed it during a clandestine rummage through the Quartermaine boathouse, where dusty boxes hold forgotten treasures from the clan's glory days, items Edward hoarded like a dragon guarding gold, including letters from old rivals and even a cryptic will amendment. Or maybe Carly's sweet talked a contact in the family, like a lingering resentment toward Drew, prompting her to borrow it under false pretenses for safekeeping. The gun's history adds intrigue. Engraved with the Quartermaine crest, it might bear faint etchings from a long-ago duel rumor involving Edward and a business foe, now potentially framing an innocent party. If fingerprints are involved, whose would they be? Carly's own, smudged in haste, or those of an unwitting accomplice like a shady informant from her Metro Court dealings? Alternatively, did she acquire it from a black market dealer in the docks, wiping it clean before stashing it where Willow's presence could cast a long shadow of doubt? The possibilities swirl like fog over the harbor, each one amplifying the tension in Port Charles' underbelly. Of course, the wildest theory floating around is that Carly herself pulled the trigger on Drew. That explosive confrontation in the dimly lit warehouse where shadows played tricks and grudges boiled over. Drew, the resilient Navy vet, with his unyielding sense of justice, has clashed with Carly repeatedly over business ethics at Aurora Media, personal boundaries with her daughter Jocelyn, and even lingering affections from his presumed Jason days. But envision the scene: Carly, fueled by a cocktail of betrayal and protectiveness for her loved ones, cornering him with accusations flying like bullets. Would she really cross that line, her hands steady on the grip as the shot echoed? It might temporarily eliminate a thorn in her side, shielding Sonny's empire from Drew's prying investigations or averting a scandal that could drag the Spencer name through the mud. Yet, this scenario crumbles under scrutiny. Carly's fiery temperament thrives on confrontation, not cold-blooded elimination. She's the queen of calculated risks, not reckless violence. Think of her past setups, like framing rivals in corporate espionage or leaking just enough to let karma deliver the knockout punch. Contrast this with Carly's true arsenal, her razor-sharp wit in verbal showdowns at the Floating Rib, where she dismantles opponents with a single arched eyebrow, or her knack for orchestrating diversions that leave enemies chasing ghosts. If she did stash the gun, the unintended consequence of implicating Michael, her own flesh and blood, must sting like salt in a wound. Michael, with his moral compass slightly askew from years in the family business, could face scrutiny that unravels his custody battles or ELQ power plays. Carly, spotting this blind spot, might scramble to intervene, dialing up Jason for covert extraction or Sonny for muscle, even looping in the enigmatic Jack Brennan from his shadowy CIA ties for forensic cleanup. But panicking, in her vibe, she's more likely to sip a martini at the Metro Court, watching the chaos unfold from afar. Her life is a tapestry of empires built on savvy deals, the hotel, her friendships, her unbreakable bond with her kids far too vibrant for the shadows of murder. Next, we will learn about the frustrating chill in the air between Jason Morgan and Britt Westburn, as fans express growing disappointment over their lackluster reunion. In the bustling world of Port Charles, where passions ignite like fireworks and secrets unravel with explosive force, the pairing of Jason and Britt, affectionately dubbed Jabbert by devoted viewers, has always stood out as a powder keg of intensity and raw attraction. Yet, in this latest chapter of their tumultuous saga, something feels profoundly off-kilter. Rather than diving headfirst into a whirlwind romance filled with stolen glances, heated confessions, and inevitable bedroom entanglements, these two are circling each other with the caution of adversaries in a high-stakes espionage thriller. It's as if an invisible wall has risen between them, turning what should be a sizzling reconnection into a frosty standoff that leaves audiences scratching their heads and reaching for the fast-forward button. To put this in perspective, Let's rewind to some of the more straightforward love stories that have graced General Hospital's screens in recent years. Take Jocelyn Jacques and Dex Vaughn, for instance. After the adrenaline-fueled chaos of dispatching a dangerous foe and concealing the evidence in a remote hideaway, they didn't waste a moment before surrendering to their undeniable chemistry, consummating their bond in a moment of pure, unbridled passion. That scenario unfolded with the natural progression expected from two young, fiery souls under pressure, blending danger with desire in a way that felt authentic and exhilarating. Jabrit, with their shared history of life-or-death escapades and deep emotional scars, should be no different, especially given Jason's reputation as the unflappable enforcer who thrives on intensity. So, why the glacial pace? Is it the weight of unspoken regrets, or perhaps a deliberate narrative choice to build suspense? Whatever the case, this prolonged tension is testing the patience of even the most loyal fans, who crave the sparks that once defined this duo. Delving deeper into the timeline that led us here, Britt's supposed demise at the hands of Heather Weber's infamous poison hook was a gut-wrenching twist that had viewers mourning the loss of Kelly Thibault's powerhouse portrayal. But in true soap opera fashion, death is rarely the end, and Britt clawed her way back from the brink, only to find herself ensnared in a harrowing hostage ordeal across the scenic yet sinister shores of Croatia. Enter Jason Morgan, the stone-cold operative whose timely intervention turned the tide, extracting her from peril with his signature precision and calm under fire. One might imagine this rescue mission as the ultimate catalyst, a reunion forged in the fires of survival, where gratitude morphs into longing, and old flames reignite with ferocious urgency. Picture the scene: rain-slicked streets, whispered assurances in the dead of night, and a magnetic pull that draws them closer despite the chaos. Instead, the aftermath has been eerily subdued, with barely a flicker of that signature riz, the effortless charisma that made their earlier encounters so electric. Conversations between them feel stilted, like actors reading lines for the first time, devoid of the undercurrent of desire that once simmered beneath every exchange. This noticeable dip in chemistry raises intriguing questions about whether Jabrit can recapture the magic that captivated audiences in their heyday. Back when their paths first crossed amid medical crises and mob intrigue, there was an undeniable spark, Britt's sharp wit clashing beautifully with Jason's stoic demeanor, creating a dynamic that balanced vulnerability and strength. Scenes of them navigating high-risk operations or sharing quiet moments in hidden safe houses pulsed with tension, hinting at a deeper connection waiting to erupt. Fast forward to now, and even visually provocative moments, like Britt emerging from a steamy shower wrapped only in a towel, fail to elicit more than a perfunctory glance from Jason. It's baffling. This is the man who's faced down bullets and betrayals without flinching, yet a glimpse of the woman who once challenged his guarded heart leaves him unfazed. Could it be the burden of a massive deception weighing them down? Word on the street in Port Charles whispers of a colossal secret tied to their Croatian exploits, perhaps a cover-up involving Jocelyn's narrow escape that binds them in silence, freezing their emotions in a perpetual state of permafrost. This lie, if true, could explain the guarded interactions, as guilt and fear of exposure create an emotional chasm too wide to bridge easily. Britt's re-entry into the fray hasn't been smooth sailing on the family front either, adding layers of interpersonal drama that ripple outward. Her iron-willed mother, Liesel Obrecht, who has always been a force of nature with her unyielding loyalty and dramatic flair, didn't welcome her daughter with open arms. In a shocking display of raw emotion, Liesel delivered a resounding slap across Britt's cheek, her face a mask of betrayal and unresolved fury, before cutting off all communication like a door slammed shut in a storm. This rift stems from Britt's choices during her time away, decisions shrouded in mystery that may have endangered the fragile family ties Obrecht holds dear. Imagine the scenes unfolding: Liesel pacing the dimly lit quarters of the Quartermain mansion, her mind racing with accusations of abandonment and self-serving schemes, while Britt grapples with the pain of rejection from the one person whose approval she craves most. This maternal meltdown not only isolates Britt further, but also casts a shadow over her interactions with Jason, as personal turmoil bleeds into every aspect of her life. Fans speculate that this family discord is a deliberate plot device, forcing Britt to confront her demons before she can fully embrace any romantic revival. Shifting gears to a more speculative angle that has soap enthusiasts buzzing. Perhaps the real twist lies in Britt's very identity. Amid the whirlwind of return narratives, the show's writers have subtly planted seeds of doubt. Is this truly Britt Westburn, or an elaborate imposter pulling strings from the shadows? We've seen our share of doppelgangers and switches in Port Charles. Think of the Nathan West saga, where questions of authenticity unraveled long-held beliefs. Applying that lens here, Britt's hesitance to seal the deal with Jason takes on new meaning. Every near kiss aborted at the last second, every evasive glance, could be a calculated risk to maintain her facade. What if her lips, altered by some covert procedure, or her mannerisms, slightly off-kilter, betray the ruse under close scrutiny? Jason, with his razor-sharp instincts honed from years in the underworld, might sense the discrepancy subconsciously, holding back without knowing why. Envision a deeper conspiracy. Maybe this stand-in was planted by a vengeful foe like Valentin Casadini, aiming to manipulate Jason's alliances for a larger scheme involving corporate takeovers or long-buried Casadini secrets. Such a revelation would inject high-octane suspense, transforming their awkward encounters into a prelude to a jaw-dropping unmasking that reshapes alliances across the canvas. When news broke that Kelly Thiebaud would reprise her role as Britt, Jabber's shippers erupted in celebration, envisioning a storyline brimming with electric tension and heartfelt vulnerability. They dreamed of Jason softening his armored exterior, allowing glimpses of the man beneath the hitman, while Britt's fiery independence challenged him to commit in ways he'd never dared before. This couple wasn't just a fling. They embodied relationship aspirations, with Jason's loyalty merging seamlessly with Britt's resilience, promising a fresh evolution in his character arc, one where love tempers his solitary existence and opens doors to uncharted emotional depths. Early teasers hinted at fraught confrontations in hidden locales, stolen touches amid danger, and dialogues laced with unspoken yearnings that would have fans glued to their screens. Yet, the reality has fallen flat, more akin to a discarded cloth than the vibrant tapestry. It could be damp, limp, and devoid of vibrancy. The promise of a new chapter in Jason's life, exploring fidelity and future building beyond the mob life, feels squandered in favor of subdued stares and minimal dialogue. Acknowledging the nuances at play, it's clear Britt carries wounds from her past ordeals, the poison's lingering trauma, the isolation of her exile that demand respect for her personal space. Jason, ever the gentleman in his rough-edged way, honors those limits, stepping back to avoid pressuring her into vulnerability before she's ready. This sensitivity is commendable, a nod to character growth amid the show's penchant for rush romances. However, to breathe life into their scenes, a subtle infusion of longing would suffice, a lingering gaze across a crowded room at the Metro Court, heavy with memories of shared nights, or a sharply worded exchange born from frustration, revealing the passion bubbling just below the surface. These small gestures could animate the narrative, reminding viewers of the potent connection that once set Jabber apart from the pack. Without them, the storyline risks drifting into irrelevance, overshadowed by flashier arcs like the latest Scorpio Drake family intrigue or escalating tensions at ELQ. As we wrap up this deep dive into the Jabber enigma, the question lingers for all you passionate General Hospital devotees. Does this beloved pair require intensive narrative CPR to revive their spark, or has the time come to chart separate paths, allowing Jason to explore uncharted territories with someone new while Britt carves her own destiny free from old flames? And on that tantalizing note, could the woman we know as Britt truly be an elaborate fake, setting the stage for a conspiracy that upends everything? Next, we will learn about the intense drama surrounding Carly Spencer's unyielding devotion to her son Michael Corinthos, as she navigates a web of suspicion in the wake of Drew Cain's shocking shooting. In the high-stakes world of Port Charles, Carly has always been the fierce lioness guarding her cubs, and with Michael under the microscope of the PCPD's relentless investigation, her protective instincts are firing on all cylinders like never before. This isn't just maternal love, it's a calculated strategy born from years of family crises, where Carly has learned that silence from authorities can turn into damning evidence overnight, forcing her to consider extreme measures to shield Michael from potential ruin. Imagine the internal turmoil. Carly, once a queen of the Metro Court, now whispering desperate pleas in the shadows, ready to confess to a crime she didn't commit if it means keeping her son's future intact amid the Quartermaine legacy's tangled thorns. Her willingness to plead guilty to shooting Drew, in mere speculation. It's a testament to how far she'd go, drawing from past battles where she sacrificed her own reputation to save loved ones. Like during the Casa Dini threats that nearly tore the town apart, the central puzzle gripping fans whether Carly orchestrated a clever diversion by planting Edward Quartermaine's antique revolver at Elizabeth Baldwin's cozy home during a seemingly innocent visit, all to redirect the detective's gaze away from Michael's precarious position. Edward's gun, a relic from the Quartermaine study symbolizing the family's storied power struggles, could have been the perfect red herring, its historical bullets matching the ones that fell Drew in a way that screams deliberate misdirection. Picture Carly slipping through the opulent mansion halls under the cover of a family gathering, her mind racing with timelines and alibis, snatching the weapon before anyone noticed its absence from the locked display case. This theory adds layers to Carly's character, portraying her not just as a reactor, but as a proactive schemer, inventing scenarios where she envisions the gun's discovery unraveling Liz's credibility and buying Michael precious time to regroup. Experts in soap dynamics point out how such plants echo classic GH twists, like the falsified evidence in the Sonny Corinthos trials, amplifying the drama with forensic intrigue that keeps viewers guessing episode after episode. Carly's visit to Elizabeth's house unfolded with an undercurrent of tension that would make even the most seasoned Port Charles resident uneasy, especially since she timed it precisely when Willow Tate was clocked in at her nursing shift. Leaving the space vulnerably quiet, Carly arrived under the pretense of checking on old friendships, but her pulse quickened at the thought of what secrets Liz might have spilled to the authorities about that heated confrontation with Drew mere days before the bullets flew. Elizabeth, ever the steadfast nurse with a heart of gold, had stumbled upon Carly in a rare moment of raw vulnerability, her words laced with fury as she warned Drew against crossing her family lines again. Their rivalry, steeped in decades of jealousy over Jason Morgan's affections, had simmered like a pot ready to boil over Carly, viewing Liz as the perpetual interloper in her inner circle. While Liz saw Carly's outbursts as products of unchecked ambition, to Carly's relief, Liz assured her that no tales of threats had reached the police ears, attributing the outburst to the mounting stress of Drew's political ambitions clashing with personal loyalties, a nod to their shared history of courtroom dramas and hospital heroics. Yet, as the conversation hung in the air like unspoken accusations, Carly couldn't shake the fear that Liz's moral compass might waver under interrogation pressure. The real eyebrow-raiser came when Elizabeth excused herself to handle an urgent call from the hospital, ascending the stairs with her phone in hand, leaving Carly alone in the living room that suddenly felt like a stage for covert operations. Carly's demeanor shifted in an instant, her eyes darting to corners, fingers fidgeting with her purse as if concealing more than just lipstick and keys. Before she methodically scanned the room for the ideal hiding spot, was it behind a stack of medical journals on the shelf, or tucked into a drawer amid Liz's children's toys? The possibilities swirl in speculative circles, with some fans theorizing Carly even paused to rehearse a feigned discovery scenario in her mind. Her exit was equally telling, a hurried glance over her shoulder, purse clutched tightly, as if the walls themselves might whisper her intentions to the next visitor. This suspicious ballet adds a thriller element to the soap, reminiscent of Carly's past deceptions during the DVX scandals, where every glance carried the weight of potential exposure. In inventing this sequence, one can envision Carly's heartbeat sensing with the ticking clock, her resolve hardening against the backdrop of Port Charles' foggy nights. At the heart of Carly's frenzy lies Michael's alibi, a fragile construct that crumbles under the slightest scrutiny, reminding everyone of his earlier entanglement with Abby Haver, the call girl whose scandal rocked the Corinthos world years ago. Back then, Michael's naivety in such arrangements painted him as vulnerable, a trait the PCPD now exploits to question his latest romantic claim with Jacinda Bracken, a woman whose sudden appearance smells more of convenience than genuine spark. Dante Falconeri, with his detective's nose for foul play, dismissed the pairing outright upon walking in on what appeared to be an intimate dinner, labeling it a manufactured facade rather than heartfelt connection. Indeed, it was all smoke and mirrors, Michael coordinating the rendezvous to time-stamp his evening. Yet a critical flaw emerged when logs revealed the drink with Jacinda occurred hours before his car idled suspiciously close to Drew's residence. This temporal mismatch, uncovered through traffic cams and witness statements, turns the alibi into a liability, forcing Michael to dodge questions about his true whereabouts amid the Quartermaine estate's sprawling grounds. Adding depth, one could imagine Michael's internal conflict, torn between loyalty to his mother and the fear of inheriting Sonny's shadowy reputation in the eyes of the law. Tracy Quartermaine, ever the sharp-tongued matriarch with a soft spot for family secrets, inadvertently bolstered the cover when she spotted Michael's vehicle lurking near Drew's property during her own ill-fated attempt to negotiate peace. Instead of alerting the authorities, Tracy zipped her lips, her loyalty to the Quartermaine bloodline overriding any disdain for the Corinthos upstart, a decision that could backfire spectacularly if subpoenaed. Her call out to Michael was private but pointed, laced with warnings about the dangers of meddling in Drew's orbit, drawing from her own history of corporate espionage and hidden agendas within ELQ. This protective silence weaves Tracy into the narrative as an unlikely ally, her calculated risks highlighting the interconnected web of Port Charles elites where betrayals are currency. Fans speculate this could lead to explosive Quartermaine family summit, where old grudges resurface alongside new alliances forged in the fire of investigation. Lurking in the shadows of this gun mystery is Willow Tate, whose access to the Quartermaine inner sanctum raises eyebrows about whether she swiped Edward's revolver for personal protection amid her own turbulent life with Michael. Perhaps, in a moment of paranoia fueled by threats from Nina Reeves' circle, Willow pocketed the weapon during a late-night study visit, intending to return it once the coast cleared but getting sidelined by her demanding schedule. Detective Harrison Chase's thorough sweep of the mansion, armed with a freshly amended warrant, turned up empty for the gun among Edward's prized collection of heirlooms, each piece catalogued with meticulous care. Chase's prior run-in with Willow sneaking through the halls adds suspicion, as if she were caught mid-scheme, her explanations of fetching forgotten files ringing hollow to the seasoned cop. Yet, what if the timeline allows for a sneaky replacement before the bullet's ballistics linked back to it, only for another hand, perhaps Carly's, to pluck it anew as a diversionary tactic? This invented layer introduces Willow's potential moral dilemma, balancing her love for Michael against the fear of complicity in a larger cover-up. Ultimately, the smoking gun or lack thereof points fingers squarely at Carly's sleight of hand during that upstairs interlude, with Anna Devane's keen instincts likely unearthing the planted evidence in Liz's home during a routine follow-up. Anna, with her WSB-honed espionage skills, would recognize the setup instantly, tracing the gun's journey from Quartermaine vaults to Baldwin's doorstep through subtle fingerprints or residue overlooked in haste. This discovery could shatter fragile truces, propelling Carly into a confession corner where her plea for Michael's innocence becomes the episode's emotional pinnacle. As the investigation deepens, Port Charles braces for fallout, alliances fracturing, secrets exploding, and Carly's empire teetering on the edge of redemption or downfall. Stay tuned for how this maternal gambit reshapes the canvas of betrayal and loyalty in the iconic halls of General Hospital.